Good afternoon, all. Let's
Good afternoon.
yes,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
yes.
Shall we begin?
Yes, sir. Kindly continue, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me wind up the earlier discussion briefly. We were talking about imitation. If you remember, others should not be able to copy your strategy, what you do, your position of strength or vantage or whatever this thing. Okay, that we talk about and so on. So I will begin with a brief introduction to what we call. This was like a competitive strategy. Rivals हैं, सामने हैं, army खड़ी है, that kind of a picture I painted for you. Then another view, which is what we call resource-based view of strategy, which says look inside your thing. Not all opportunities are. Everybody cannot make use of all the opportunities, which you must have seen in your life. Some people are more smarter at grabbing opportunities than you and I are. And there will be other threats. Some people are threatened more by changes in policy than some others. So it just depends on your situation and what capabilities and resources that you have. So let me begin with a small presentation. I will not complete the whole thing because I have many other things to talk to you about. So this is called, have I shared it? Sorry. Present now, Windows. So this is called a resource-based view of strategy, which is a slightly different way of looking at strategy than the one I taught you earlier. Okay. In this, we begin from inside always. We look at what we are capable of. We don't look at environment and do SWOT analysis and all those kind of things, which I was going to tell you about. So in this, the industry is the most significant environmental factor. I'll just let me finish this. I'm sorry about it, but let me just take the earlier one also, and some parts which I want to. This is my earlier presentation we were looking at. I had to stop early because we started late and so on. So how do we formulate a strategy? How do we begin by the process of making a new strategy? We begin with reiterating our vision or a mission, what we want. Okay. Now, so a country can also have a vision or mission. An industry can have it. A company can have it. An educational institution can have it. An NGO can have it. Anybody can have it. Okay. What we stand for, where we want to go, what is our mission. Okay. Let me just give you an example which you might have read, that in early 90s, when China started its development program in a rapid way, so the Chinese army, the military defense, had a mission of establishing peace. That China should not get involved into any wars, anything like that. China should not be threatened. We should not get involved into any wars, so that we have time to develop economically. Okay, and they decided to require 20 years time. 20 years of peace. To ensure peace was China Army's mission. Okay, right? And this is just after Tiananmen Square incident, because that was also, internal disturbance was also seen to be a threat to development in that sense. This is one second. Similarly, as I was telling you about vision of IIM, Calcutta and all that, etc., what we are saying. Then we look at the critical interface with the environment. What in the environment is most critical to me? Okay. If you are an educational institution, it is being able to get good students, being able to attract good teachers, okay, being able to keep them with you, keep them happy, okay, so that they don't leave and join somewhere else for some more money, okay, and understanding the emerging threats and opportunities. What is happening in the environment? What environmental threats are arising? Okay, Government policies are changing. New kind of institutions are coming in. New courses are coming in. So are we keeping pace? Are we adapting to it? And so on. And then looking at my strengths and weaknesses. So this is what we call usually SWOT. Okay. Looking at environment, opportunities and threats in the environment, and looking at my strengths and weaknesses. And weakness is very difficult to identify. Even individually, if I ask people what is your weakness, many of us will find it difficult actually to acknowledge our weaknesses. We always talk about our strengths. Organizations also have that blind spot. They don't look at their weaknesses easily. Okay. Companies also do it. I've been a consultant with many companies, and they always blame somebody else for what they are doing wrong or incorrectly. Then I articulate my long-term goals and objectives. These are strategic long-term goals. Okay. Is that right? And as I said, long-term has no time dimension. Long-term has dimension where the assumptions about the environment change, where there's uncertainty. Okay. As I said, in mobile phone industry, 1 year is long-term. Okay. In steel industry, 10 years is medium-term. India mein next steel plant kab aayega? It won't, not before 7-8 years. You have to get land, you have to get railway lines, you have to get iron ore. The technology in steel making has not changed since LD converters, which came in 1950s or 60s after Second World War. Okay, it's a very stable, old industry. So, unke liye long term is 20-30 year period. Are you with me on this? So, long term has to do with where my assumptions about the environment will change. And because of the dynamics of market, new people entering the market, new needs are arising, or most important, new technologies emerging, which is what is happening today a lot more. And that's why this course is on technology management. Then generating alternate paths to attain the same goals. I want to go there. What are different ways of reaching that goal? I can collaborate with somebody, I can import kits from somebody, I can do my own R&D and start making it and stuff like that. Okay. Then which is the strategic option that I will choose? And what is the risk and what is the cost? It's very important to look at risk. Sometimes you can take a risk which can finish off the organization. It can just end you forever. Okay. And I know lots of stories like this, that they were very costly, risky ventures where things went wrong. Okay. Then selecting a particular strategy to pursue. Then getting a strategy, then selecting a strategy. The strategy comes after looking at my SWOT. It comes after looking at my long-term vision, and then my goals, and what are different ways of reaching that goals, different ways. Then evaluating, does it meet the expectations of managers? Will my managers like it? People who work there, will my faculty like it? What I'm going to do there now? And what is the level of risk, acceptable level of risk? Everybody measures, managers first measure the risk in terms of the personal goal. Suppose the government has a new rule that you cannot get from assistant professor to associate professor without a PhD, which came about in many years ago. So all the teachers who don't have a PhD will see it as a risk, this new policy, as threatening them, because it is blocking their career path. So people always, managers also, look at the risk in personal terms also organizational terms. The senior management has to look at, will the company survive? The individual looks at, will I survive? Okay, will my job remain there or not? Would I like to continue to work here or should I leave, and so on and so forth. Okay. So that is the way we formulate a strategy. I should have ended here. I ended a little early. But let me go back to what I was talking about, resource-based view of strategy, and continue from there. So resource-based view says that industry, my environment, which is the most important environment, the industry environment. If you are an educational institution, then the education policy, education environment is your key environment. If I am a scooter manufacturer, then the two-wheeler industry is my key environment. Okay, if I am a electricity generating company like NTPC. Okay, then the electricity generation and the whole ecosystem where electricity is evacuated, sold to customers is my most important environment. Okay, and this is used for uh, and all the threats and opportunities come from this environment. They are more important. The government और भी कुछ कर रही है, economy slow down भी हो रही है, China का threat भी है border पे. Those are little removed. They don't affect me so much. The new education policy might affect me more than what is happening in Ladakh, for example. So I have to really look at that more closely. Then it has to be used in formulating my competitive strategy and positioning. But what is happening in the dynamics of the industry does not affect everybody in the same manner. Okay, new colleges will be affected more. People like IIM, etc., they don't even look at the policy. They know हमने जो मर्जी करना है करेंगे. In a way, almost. Let me say, because they are established, they are old, and they have a clout which the IITs and IIMs would like to use in the light of a policy. They are positioned better, more strongly. So a firm's competitive strategy must be built around its valuable resources if it is to perform better than its rival. Okay. What threatens me depends on my resources, my capabilities. Okay. And it must be built on what we call unique and valuable resources. What do you think are unique resources of any organization? What would be a unique resource which Patna Women's College possesses? What would be the unique resource which a Bajaj Auto possesses? What would be the unique resource which say Mr. Ambani's company possesses? Anybody? What is unique? How do I call what is unique? How do I define it? Remember, imitation others being able to copy depends on this uniqueness. Why can't others copy IIT engineering colleges? Because they have something unique. That's what I would say. Yes,
I
yes.
think it can be a better human resource, and that can give age.
No, that is one. You don't look at one example. How will I define uniqueness?
Competitive edge, sir.
Yeah,
Having
competitive
a
edge, but it
competitive
comes
edge.
from unique resource. It comes from, we are trying to see what competitive edge comes from. We are trying to understand that. It comes from unique resources. But what is unique resource? And I'm saying I haven't defined
Having
it.
a separate identity.
Pardon?
Different from others?
Very good, very good. You're on the right track. Elaborate more.
Having a separate identity. Hello?
Yeah, it's unique. It gives me identity. Yeah. It is unique, we'll say, you cannot buy it in the marketplace. Okay. It is unique in the sense that you can't get it. जाके खरीद के ले आओ. Everybody can copy buildings, everybody can copy computers, and labs and all this kind of thing. Okay. That doesn't make you an IIT. Are you getting what I'm saying? So there must be some resources which IITs possess, which you are not able to buy. You can buy buildings, you can buy computers, you can buy lab equipment, and so on and so forth. So resources are classified into three broad categories. We're calling them tangible resources, and intangible and organizational ones. Tangible, everybody understands what they are. They are on your balance sheet of the company. Okay. They're the easiest to value. Kitna zameen, kitne acre land hai. Okay. How many buildings, what kind of construction, how many years old. And they are the only resource that appears in the balance sheet. They include my real estate, production facilities, raw materials, stocks. Okay, they are essential. They are very essential to firm strategy. But they rarely give you an advantage. To start a new college, you need good buildings, good labs, and all that, good library. But they don't give you an advantage. They don't give you competitive advantage. And intangible assets are such things as reputation, brand, And I have said culture, very especially culture. How things happen in places, technological knowledge, patents, trademarks, accumulated learning and experience, how we do things. Old colleges, old universities. Okay, Patna College is really old. So it has a way of doing things. It has imbibed way of selecting good teachers, keeping them with them, and so on. So there's accumulated learning in that. The assets play an important role in advantage. Culture is also very important. We started the class a little late today. Though they were very polite, and I was also noticing that number of people who were logged in was rather small at 10 o'clock. It became more a little later. Right? Doubled almost within 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So this never happens in IITs or IIMs. I have taught them for 40 years. I don't remember ever getting into a class late, which is very common in most colleges in the country. People will be 15 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Students are sitting and chatting and talking and so on. So this is a culture of the place. Nowhere is it written professor should come to class on time. There is no rule. Nobody ever will tell you anything if you come late. But the culture of the place says that if you don't come to the class, the students look down on you and your other colleagues look down on you. That is the culture of a place. Okay. So these things are intangible. They are not written anywhere. There is no manual which says professor must come to the class immediately within 1 minute. Then there are organizational capabilities, which are not factors like intangible or tangible. They are a combination of assets, people, processes that organization uses to transform input and part. How do you train your teachers? How do you train your students? Okay. How do you help them to develop better as teachers? Everybody, when I started, I was young, like many assistant professors here. I was not a good teacher. Let me tell you that. I imitated some wrong people, my heroes. Yeah. Some people in my class never used transparencies or wrote on the board. They just lectured. Okay. And I learned over the years how to become a better teacher. So this transformation, which organization helps you in a way, facilitates it. We send our teachers to other places for training, just as you have come for training. So a list of organizational capabilities includes a set of which helps to become effective and efficient and so on. It can be low cost structure, lean manufacturing, high quality, okay, etc. Okay. Yeah. And so on. So these are organizational capabilities. It is where faculty is rewarded, promoted in education history. In the companies, it is how you get new managers, how you keep getting good people to do this. You must have read some article going around by Mr. Rahul Bajaj's son, that how he made Bajaj a world-class company. Okay, because no IIT students would join him, they all wanted to join IT. So he increased the salary. He went on the first day to get the best students, and slowly he helped them that we will be better than Chinese in scooter business. And he made a company like that. So these are all intangible organizational capabilities that he was building up in that sense. Okay. So in this way of formulating strategy, we begin from resources. We don't begin from environment, we don't begin from threats. We begin from resources. We say, what resources do we have? What capabilities do I have? I map those. What am I capable of doing? Okay. And these capabilities, these special assets, what I'm calling unique assets, what extra rent can I get? What extra profit can I get? How can I leverage them? So I look at my resource, I look at my capabilities, and what competitive advantage comes from these resources and capabilities, and then I formulate a strategy. Okay. So this is a different way from making a strategy, what I just showed you, where you begin from environment, threats in the environment, and so on. So this is called the resource-based strategy. Many people argue The environment threat web, though, it depends on to whom the threat is. If you are weak, puny, if you're an old man like Professor Khanna, then a young man, toughy guy threatens you. But if you're tough yourself, young man, do exercise, go to the gym, he's not threatened. So threatening depends on what resources you have, what is your capabilities and so on. Okay, I'm just talking. Do you have any questions on this? So I was just trying to wind up, in a way, my discussion on strategy. And before I begin on my new presentation on how we analyze industries and competition, I just want to ask you one thing. Is some of this a repetition for any of you who come from business schools? Do you want me to go faster? Is the pace all right?
Sir, I think this is a perfect tone for all of us to
All right.
understand.
It's not a repetition for people of
Yeah, no, sir, absolutely not.
All right, okay. Let me begin by taking you to something else. Okay. Sorry. I can't do that. It doesn't show up. Okay. I have to share. So let's look at how we analyze the environment, how we analyze, as I mentioned, the most important environment is the industry in which you operate. Okay. And understanding that environment is important for me to compete, to survive in the long run. If you're an educational institute, education market is your industry. If you are a scooter manufacturer, then scooter manufacturing, two-wheeler industry is your thing. So we said firm strategy is based on relating firm to its environment, its capabilities to environment. Though everything is environment, government policies, exchange rate, stock market, everything is environment. The most important environment is the industry. And I must understand what is the dynamics of the industries. And when I look around, some industries are highly profitable, and others are unattractive for many years. Okay. Do you think education is a highly profitable thing, or is it an unattractive industry as an industry compared to other things? As teachers, what do you think? Attractiveness means profitability only. Surplus hota hai. Aur koi nahi. And just give your answer. Anybody else? Anybody in the class? Do you think education is a good industry, profitable industry? Or do you think it's not an attractive industry? Scooter बनाना चाहिए, mobile phone बनाना चाहिए. We do something else. Or run coaching classes, which is also a kind of education market. What do you think? Anybody in the class? Very few people speak up, and the same people are speaking up all the time. So I would like others to also participate. Or have you just switched yourself on and gone to have chai, or is that right? I'm just wondering. Unless you speak, how do I know that you are there? Anybody would like to comment on this? Is the education as an industry attractive? Since all of you are teachers, many industries are unattractive, no? Textile industry. Mill after mill closing down, sick for years, right? Jute industry, where in Calcutta, it's a very big industry, very big employer. Has been in doldrums for the last 20, 30 years.
Education is an industry, but certainly this has a long-term effect or long-term return. We invest our time in new generation, and they are going to build up resource for the nation. So it is not that there can be 2.2 way to analyze this. One is like how we are functioning and how are we generating our resources and how we are doing better our performance as at an educational institution. And then there is another long-term investment that is about how our products are going to fare in long run in overall industry or in overall needs of the nation.
Yeah, you see, needs of the nation I'm not getting into. Okay. If the needs of the nation, the government should pay for it. Period. Or taxpayers should pay for it. Okay. Which is what we do for schooling. It's a right to education, etc. and all that kind of thing. So higher education I'm talking about. Earlier we did not allow companies or organizations for profit in education. It was not allowed. But now we allow. Last few years we have allowed for-profit organizations to come into education. You can have a company which runs educational programs, for example, gives degrees under UGC's thing, and then has shareholders and give profits to them. So I'm asking, is it an attractive industry for them? A lot of people have started private colleges thinking it's attractive, no? कि पैसा बनाएंगे थोड़ा सा. Do you think it's profitable? I'm asking you. Your views. Forget about the long-term nation thing. Of course, that is very important. Yeah, that's why we do low-paid job. Our salaries are very low. We still teach and so on and so forth. Okay. So
I don't think.
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah,
I
I don't think so. But here and there, yeah, some people can make a lot of money. Okay. There have been times that fly-by operators in India have made a lot of money. But on the whole, the industry is not very profitable. Okay.
Yes.
You just about, if you pay the correct salaries, what AICT asks you to pay, and you charge a reasonably high fees, then you will just about break even. It will not be possible to, if you spend on libraries, you spend on labs, it's not going to be easy to make money out of it. Okay, this is my impression also. So it's not a very attractive industry. And not like software industry, where 30% profit, 40% profit of time. Okay, the one issue. And in the same industry, some people are better than others. So the industry may be unprofitable. Textile industry was very bad. The companies were going sick. And India's fastest growing company, Reliance Industries, under Mr. Ambani, came out of textiles. Vimal fabrics unke the. Yaad hai aapko? And he was growing in 80s and 90s when the rest of the industry was going down. So some companies can do better than others. While the industry is bad, they are doing all right. Or the industry is very profitable, but the companies are doing badly. Software industry average profitability is 30-40%. But if you look at NASSCOM ki list, 50% of companies in India make losses. They make no profits. Lots of small software companies who are members of NASSCOM, they don't make any profits. So industry is highly profitable, but I am not able to make money out of it. Industry is very unprofitable, but I make good money out of it. So this is, the industry attractiveness first I have to understand. And if I understand the industry well, and if I am positioned in a good place, I will make money. Even if others are losing money. That's the point I'm trying to make. So what shapes competition in my industry? And as I said, everything has competition. Even education has competition. Okay. How can we position a firm to defend against other forces or influence them in our favor? Okay. So how will my organization, my institute, my university be positioned to defend against these forces, okay, and turn them into my advantage, to my favor? Okay. We also know firms try to get market share, high market shares, hoping that high market shares leads to high profits. There are some studies which show it's true. That's why people like Flipkart, they went up making losses and trying to increase the size. Okay. Even today, they are not making any profits, but they have a very big size. They have a very big market share. So sometimes people say in the long run, people who have high market share can do well. So this and this fighting between market competition actually keeps each other in check and makes it restrains prices from going up too much. Okay, and stimulates innovation. How to really make this is the argument which people present. That why should the government promote competition? Because it helps innovation, it helps efficiency and so on. So I'm going to introduce you to a model very popular by a professor economist from USA. His name is Porter. It's called Porter's 5 Forces model. So Porter's model says people make the mistake of assuming competition to be rivalry within the industry, boundary of the industry. Yeah, all the automobile companies are competing with each other. All the cement companies are competing with each other. He says competition is more broader. It's outside the boundary of the industry, and that is his main insight. He says, firstly, suppliers and buyers are also a very important part of the competition. If the buyers are very powerful, they will beat down the prices. Okay, which happens when the government buys, vendor karke, it gets very good prices. If it's really serious about it, there is no corruption in it. Okay, and the suppliers can also have a very great bargaining power. Actually. Do you know any company which makes computer? Computer is a modern industry, no? Laptops, computers is booming now because of stay at home and work from home and all that. No. Do you know any company which makes profits out of it? Do you know any manufacturer of computers who is highly profitable, who is doing well? Do you know anybody? The naam boliye. All of you have laptops, yeah? I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So, who is doing well? Which laptop computer manufacturer is doing well? India, everybody has folded up. You know?
Yeah. Yes. Dell is doing better.
Who's doing well, louder?
Dell.
Dell was doing well, not doing well now. Okay, Dell was doing well. It's in bad shape right now if you follow the effects. They were very good. They were dominant at one point of time. Okay. And somebody is trying to raid Dell to get Mr. Dell out. He has just saved his company about a year ago, 2 years ago. But yeah, he's still, they are not losing money, but they're not highly profitable. Nobody wants to enter the industry. No new guy. Lenovo, which was Chinese biggest manufacturer, HP, they're also just about profitable. Lenovo is losing money right now. Last news minute came out. So here's an industry which is fast growing, whose demand grows at 20, 30, 40% a year. This year it is growing at 30%. If you look at new computers being sold. Mobile phones are highly fast rising, and very few companies make profits out of it. Even mobile phones, very few people make profits out of it. Apple is the exception. Other companies hardly make profits, high profits. So who makes profits out of the computer industry? Okay. Who makes profits out of it? So every computer that you buy has a chip by Intel, and every computer that you buy has a software of Microsoft. Okay. They fix the price and they take out the cream from the industry. Baki sab screwdriver lagate. So Mr. Bill Gates is the world's richest man, among the richest men. He was once the richest man in the world. Now he's number 2 or 3. And Intel is one of the most profitable companies in the world. They make chips. So industry has profitability, but the people in the industry don't make any profits. Somebody else outside the industry makes profits. Are you getting what I'm saying? So according to Porter, don't look at only the competition within the industry. Don't look, HP is better than Lenovo, वगैरह उसमें कुछ आपको समझ नहीं आएगा कि मलाई कौन खा रहा है? Who's eating the butter? Who's taking away the cream from the industry? That depends on who has more power, who has more bargaining power, who has a monopolistic power almost over industries. Because if you start using other non-Microsoft software, then you will not be able to follow my lecture. So we are all forced to use Google. If any of you are against Google and don't use Chrome, you will not be able to follow my lecture. So all of you have to have a Microsoft run computer, and all of you have to have a Google run program software loaded on your machine to be able to attend this class. And the Patna College, which organizes lectures, assumed all of you have it. Has assumed. And Android, which is on our phones, was also came from Google. Initially, it came from them, the Android technology, which drives the mobile phones. Okay. So there are monopolies everywhere who take the cream. So Google is a highly profitable company. Okay. Among the richest in the world. The owners, people who started it. Okay. So is Microsoft. So is Intel. Okay. Then the profitability is also threatened by substitutes. People who can make some. If you charge too much inside the industry, somebody else's product becomes, substitute begins to take over. Okay. And then there are people outside the industry threatening to enter. If the industry is very profitable, people want to come in. Software industry is very profitable. So many people are doing MCA. Na? Why are so many students doing? Because the industry gives good job, good industry. And some of them will also want to start the software company on their own one day. And 30% profit hota hai margin. Okay. So there is a threat of new entrants, people entering. Everybody wants to become a software player. Tata Empire is in losses. You know that, no? Mr. Ratan Tata has made that steel is losing money. His car industry is losing money. What is making profit is his software business. Tata Sons. Okay. The software is booming. So it's a highly profitable industry. So substitutes, threat of entry, these 5 forces. So don't just look at rivalry. Rivalry can also be very intense sometimes. Rivalry you're seeing in the mobile phone services. Vodafone versus Ideas versus BSNL versus what intense competition. India has the cheapest rates in the world. 1/3 of the rates in China. I've been to China recently. And intense rivalry. Our airline industry also, intense rivalry. No airline is making profits. Not easy. People suspect Indigo's profits also. बोलते हैं हम profit बना रहे हैं. Okay. So the dynamics of 5 forces is needed to understand the industry. So a threat of new entry can be stopped if I can have a barrier to entry. It's like the third class train compartment, right? अब second class बोलते हैं उसको, पहले third बोलते थे. So I get inside, then I try to close the door. Others should not be able to get in. Isn't it? Then my journey will be profitable. If I can lock the door before others can come in, then I can go sleeping. Or I have a reserved seat. I have a 3-tier reserved seat. Then I can sleep comfortably on my berth. Nobody can take it. It's a barrier to entry. Either through there is a TTA security police standing outside to prevent others from coming. Sometimes there are barriers to entry because of economies of scale. Why can other chip manufacturers come in? Because of economies of scale. Intel has a great advantage. It makes chips for the whole world. Okay. Every computer, every mobile phone, everything has an Intel chip inside. There are other chip manufacturers, also RAN type, number 2, number 3. But they are very far from Intel. Intel has 80% market share, unka 2-4%, 5% market share. Some people have brands, brand identity blocks people from coming in. Okay. Let me give you an example. What is your favorite, say, tomato ketchup? Tomato sauce? कौन से आप खाते हैं? What tomato sauce do you like? What are the options do you have? Which one do you like?
So Maggie,
Maggie.
You like Maggie. How many other options do you have? Suppose Maggie नहीं मिले आपको क्या क्या मिलेगा?
I
so
think
Tops is there. One more.
Yeah. Kisan is there. What else?
Kisan,
और क्या है? टमाटो सॉस क्या इंडिया में मिलती है? Heinz is there. Maggie is there. और क्या है? Is there any brand by Indian company? These are all foreign companies. Kisan is by Hindustan Lever Brothers. Maggie is by Nestle's. Heinz is by another foreign company.
So Patanjali is there.
Huh?
Patanjali.
They make sauces. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yes, sir. The pickle is there. Pickle
So
sauce.
maybe they make. But they don't have a significant market share in tomato sauce at least. They may have shared other products. I don't think. It is the easiest thing to make, no? Tomato sauce. Many of you make it at home. My mother used to make it at home. The टमाटर आते थे घर में बनता था sauce. और कहीं bottle हो जाती थी. There were government places you can go and get it bottled. They used to put a preservative. पूरा साल के लिए होती थी. And every family has its own atar, masalas, somebody likes lesun, somebody likes hot, somebody likes sweet. You can make it to your thing. No? So how come it's such a simple product? Only foreign companies dominate this market? Or Patanjali only? Why can't small people like you and me make it? Because of brand. The power of the brand. आपका बच्चा स्कूल जा रहा है, your child is going to school and your packing is different. Okay, and with a chop or something, you're putting a tomato sauce packet. You want to give him a good sauce, which is healthy, which is not, which doesn't have some other, color and using lauki and colored water or whatever, something like that. Okay. So you want to have a brand, and brands are very powerful. Very simple product like toothpaste. It's nothing. It's a useless product. You know that. It's calcium carbonate chalk. The chalk made it to a gel. उसमें थोड़ा सा खुशबू डाल देते हैं, बोलते हैं बहुत अच्छा है आपके लिए. Okay, you don't actually need it first, but even if you need it, how come only a few companies, Colgate and these 3 or 4 companies, Sensodyne and these companies dominate it? Okay. So then there is product differentiation. I sell you something different. iPhone is a product differentiation example. It gives you a different kind of a phone, different kind of a. Okay. Apple is an amazingly powerful company in differentiation. They are the world's most profitable company also. Okay. They make nothing. All their phones are made in China. All their computers are made in China. Now they are trying to make in India also. They have set up a factory. Okay. And the Chinese, you know how much they get to making a phone? They get $8 only. $8. All components come from abroad. And you can see what they call the value chain. So, but it's a differentiated product. And differentiation comes from R&D, the research that they do, the features of the phone. Okay. Steve Jobs created the desktop computer market in the world. He was the first to design a desktop computer. Okay. And he said it should be so simple. What is now Windows? That was his idea. That in his there was no software program. No MS-DOS karte the. Aapko yaad hoga. Some of you may not remember. I remember. Okay, I got my first computer in early 90s. Okay, at home. I haven't had a computer in late 80s. So we had to write like a program. There was no no browsing and stuff like that. There was no way of one computer to but he did everything like that. Okay. So these are all differentiated products. Differentiation means there are other phones, but my phone is different. iPhone is special, very different. Okay. Yeah. Sony's television is different from others. So I dominate a market because of my differentiation. Sometimes capital requirement is very large also. बहुत पैसा चाहिए उसमें घुसने के लिए. That is no longer very important today because you can get global capital markets to give you money and so on. And access to inputs. you need raw materials, you may not have access to inputs. Proprietary technology, patents. Patents are a legal way of keeping you out of the market. In the afternoon, I will discuss technology markets. When we do technology management. So proprietary technology means technology which is owned by somebody like a proprietor. And there's a patent on it. All drug companies are highly profitable. Whichever company makes the first vaccine against COVID, वो चांदी ना, their share prices that British American company, M से नाम है उनका, they have never made anything in their life. They are ahead in the race. They are ahead of Pfizer also. I'm forgetting the name right now. And suppose they do succeed, already the share price has gone up 30, 40 times. And if they actually get the vaccine out by end of the year, they will become one of the biggest companies in the world, the most profitable company. Because nobody else will be able to enter, they will have the patents on it. Then there are cost advantages independent of size. Okay. Economies of scale are also very important. You know, I told you, big economies of scale. Mr. Ambani dominates the petrochemical industry. He has the world's biggest plants in petrochemicals. So his cost per ton is low. Do you know how big his refinery is? Does anybody know the size of Mr. Ambani's refinery? Indian Oil ki bhi refineries hai, HPCL ki bhi hai. What is their size and what is his size? Anybody idea? Most Indian oil refineries started with 6 million tons. फिर 12 होता था, most around 18 nowadays, after 3 expansions. That means there are 3 streams. Mr. Ambani, single stream is 28 million tons. And he has double stream there. He's a 56 million tons refinery. And he's not able to sell any oil in India. आपको कहीं रिलायंस का पेट्रोल पंप नहीं दिखता है. 100% of his product is exported. India is a large exporter of. India has no oil. It gets oil from Middle East. Mr. Ambani gets oil from Middle East, refines it and exports petrol and diesel and all that to the rest of the world. Okay, because government of India had controlled the price of petrol. So subsidy मिलती थी. Oil companies को उनको नहीं मिलती थी. So he was forced to export. That means he's globally he's competitive. Okay, his refinery is the world scale refinery. 3 times bigger than the biggest refinery which Indian Oil has got. Okay, so he has economies of scale advantage. Okay, so don't think everything is hera peri. People also have, you know. Then there are cost advantage independent of size. Learning curve bolte hain. That means if you make the same thing again and again, the cost goes down. Now this does not apply to sabun and tomato ketchup and those examples. There's no learning curve there. The cost of making the first tomato ketchup and the 10th one and the millionth one will be the same. But in some industries, the cost goes down very rapidly. Especially aircraft manufacturing, shipbuilding, where many different technologies are put together. What is shipbuilding technology? Alag alag hai. You need special steels, you need steel bending technologies, then you need engine technologies, then you need fuel efficiency technologies, then you need navigation technologies, then you need designing the ship which will take less energy to move. So there are so many different branches of science which go into science and technology which go into making a ship or an aircraft. So that's why when Airbus started, the Europeans were subsidizing Airbus. They don't subsidize anymore. First 200 planes we will subsidize. After 200 planes, your cost should come down. That is the argument. Even shipbuilding, when Korea started shipbuilding industry, they subsidized. When Japan started shipbuilding, they subsidized. Okay, we also subsidized. but we never learned to make ships. India can't make ships. Okay, it's a shame on us. We can't make aircraft. It's a shame on us. The Chinese do all the time. Okay, so our goods come on Chinese ships. Well, India started a shipbuilding industry before the Chinese. And our learning has been very poor. This learning curve affects some industry. It becomes a barrier to industry. Chinese are deep, steep down. Now, if I start today, India starts today making ships, it will be at the top of the curve. The cost will be higher. And so on and so forth. Then there are government policies which keep you out. License chahiye, location restrictions, environmental clearance, all these also make it difficult to enter. And the threat of entry can also mean that people who are incumbents, the wrong spelling there. Incubates, retaliation by incumbents. Okay, I should correct the spelling. Incumbent means people are already inside the industry. Whoever tries to come in, they box you. हमारे घर में घुस रहा मार, they attack you very badly. You must have seen suddenly a company का वो sausage, all the windows are full of one product. Every shop has got that product. So my rival is coming into the industry. So Maggi is about to launch. What Kisan will do, it will tell the retailer, कि अगर तुम हमसे you take 50 bottles from me, I'll give you 50% discount. And then when the Maggi guy comes, he will say, Arey, I've got 50 bottles here. I can't buy anymore. So it's a way of keeping you out. It's a retaliation to make it difficult for you to enter my industry. And the industry is growing slowly. People really retaliate. They don't want you to come in. Okay. And inside the company have got people with large resources. They fight back. All of you must have heard the story of Nirma. Do you remember the story of Nirma? Does anybody know the story of Nirma's growth? Nirma powder? Detergent powder, Nirma? नहीं, किसी को याद नहीं है? You are also young. So Nirma started making a powder, and they were selling it. Okay, and Hindustan Lever used to make surf, which in those days they used to sell at 25 rupees in a cardboard box as a surf likha hota tha. And they used to boast we have 60% market share. And there were some other, Godrej used to make, and Tata's used to make some detergent powder. There were 2 or 3 brands in the market. And then Nirma was a local brand, yellow colored, no cheap packaging. Ahmedabad mein banta tha. And then they discovered one day that he was selling 10 times what they were selling in surf. His market was 10 times. They did not even get to know about it. Okay. So they went after him after that. They went to kill him. They have finished him off actually. He has not grown after that. They attacked him. They have large resources. So they launched a powder called Wheel. Aapko abhi bhi milta hoga, Wheel detergent powder, which was priced cheaper than Nirma. Though their cost was high, they were losing money. In every packet of Wheel which was sold, Hindustan Lever used to lose 7 or 8 rupees. But it was just to kill Nirma that they did this. Okay. It's called predatory pricing. Well, Amazon is doing it right now in your country. Flipkart did it. They sell you products as a cheaper than what they buy. Okay, as a consumer, you and I are very happy, but it makes small guys die out. It's called retaliation. Okay, so entry-deterring price is where I reduce the price so that you can't come in. You find it difficult to come in. Okay, entry barriers change as conditions change. Entry barriers go up and down. You know, when entry barriers go up, the number of players comes down. The entry barriers are going up in the mobile phone industry. Earlier, kitni companies thi? How many companies were there? Dozens of them in India. Maybe there are 3 or 4 left in all. Okay. And Mr. Ambani is trying to kill everybody else. Of course, he has the government on his side to help him. But otherwise, but so the conditions are changing. Entry barriers have gone up in many industries. In many industries, entry barriers come down. Brands become unimportant. Okay. I am the son of a businessman. My father used to sell radios in Allahabad. You know, in the best market. Civil lines bolte hain, like the Hazratganj of Lucknow. So he had a radio shop, and all radios were sold and were branded. So he used to sell National Echo, and there was Philips, and there was Murphy. There were only 2 or 3 brands in those days. Today, when you buy a radio, now that a lot of people carry radios also, it's on your phone, of course, now you don't buy. But if you want a small radio, transistor radio, or a small radio, do you look for brands? No. Brands are unimportant. And lots of products, brands become unimportant after some time. Okay. The power of brand dissipates. Entry barriers come down. People just enter the market. And that is what happened to fans. Usha fan hote the, वगैरह. All those brands are unimportant today. Okay. Because people can copy, people can make you fans and radios and even mobile phones, okay, and stuff like that. Watches. Brands are unimportant. They are sold on the road, okay, and you can get for 50 rupees, 100 rupees a watch. So companies' decisions also have an impact in shaping entry barriers. Sometimes companies raise entry barriers by advertising a lot and making it difficult for others to come in. Okay. And barriers can be negated by new products, process innovations, new technology. आप barrier बनाते रहो, new people have come with a new product, consumers stop buying your product, etc. Bargaining power of suppliers is very high, but it is dominated by few companies. Intel and Microsoft, I gave you an example. They are the most profitable companies in the world, and they are because they dominate this industry. They have a bargaining power. Nobody can tell them, itne mein chip do. Nobody can tell them, I'll buy all your chips. Nobody can buy that many chips from them. Because their chip is used in every computer. Whether it's Chinese, Taiwanese, Indian, African, Latin American, Mexican, everybody uses Intel chips. Everybody uses Microsoft. So they have a unique, differentiated product. And it's not easy to switch. Because if I switched, if Sushil Khanna switched, he will not be able to take this class. So I need Google on my computer. I need Microsoft on my computer. And I'm forced to use it because the switching cost is very high. Because it means all of us have to have it. All the people attending the class, the 100 students who have enrolled, should have the same software, same thing like that. And the bargaining power supplier is also fast. He can come forward. He can say, I will make the phones myself. Importance of volume to suppliers. Suppliers, volumes are very important to Intel. They don't care who uses it. Legal, illegal, grey market, some use karo. They don't differentiate anybody. See, the laptop I am using to teach you, they assembled, locally assembled. Okay. Somebody from IIM, Calcutta, who maintains the computer, he assembled it for me. There's no brand on it. But even this uses Intel. This uses a licensed copy of Windows 10, etc. Then there is a threat of forward and backward integration also. And no one customer is important to the supplier. You cannot tell Intel, हम आपका सामान नहीं लेंगे. मत लो. They don't care about you. They are so powerful in that sense. They are amazing. Similarly, buyers, they are very powerful if they are concentrated, they buy in large volumes. Already buys are standard and undifferentiated. They can jute bags. Food Corporation of India buys jute bags. Okay. The product is buying from a significant fraction of its cost. When the competition increases, they will push down the cost to suppliers. Okay. Maruti was cutting its car prices, remember a few years ago? And I have seen the advertisement newspapers. They told all the suppliers, you have to cut your cost by 10%. If you are unable to do it, don't contact us. We will buy from somebody else. I can do it only if I have many suppliers. I have great bargaining power. The products are unimportant to the quality. They cannot do it for an engine. No, they cannot do it for a gearbox. वो तो जापान से आता है. अभी भी जापान से आता है. They can do it for rims, dashboard, plastic parts, door handle, because they make a lot of part of the cost of the car. Okay. Headlights, all this kind of stuff. Buyer has a lot of information. Buyer knows your cost. If it earns low profits, margin, it seeks to push the competition pressure to its suppliers. When Maruti is not able to sell its cars, it pushes the cost on to suppliers. Substitutes, everything is a substitute. And substitutes are especially dangerous when their price performance is changing. Price performance is changing. That means they are giving you more performance for same price. That is what is happening to phones, no? The phone, what used to be 20,000 phone in 1995, 97, today much better phone with many more features available for 10,000 bucks. So performance has improved. It has data, it's like a computer on my hand. I can do email, which I could not do with the old phone. They were big and heavy. If you remember, seeing the old phones. And they are produced by industries earning high profits. Okay. So they will invade your industry substitutes. Everything has a substitute. And substitute sets the upper limit to what you can charge. Okay. This is the old typewriter. आपको याद है कितने typewriters थे? मेरे पास अभी भी एक है. I have one. I've kept it as a museum piece. Because my children have never seen a typewriter. I'm sure many of your children have never seen a typewriter. What it looked like. You still get it in some places. Outside Indian courts. जाइए वहाँ बैठे होते हैं. But by and large, you don't get typewriters anymore. Okay. And computers and substitutes have an upper limit. That if you charge a higher price, substitute becomes active. Now let's come to what we usually mean in the center of the box, the rivalry. Okay. What we are calling rivalry. Rivalry is jockeying for market position. Okay. Jockeying for to become have a higher market share. Okay. We are calling this rivalry. Which phone to buy? आप सोचते हो ना? कौन डिस्काउंट दे रहा है? क्या दे रहा है? Price क्या है? What is the features? And so on and so forth. And then the advertising battles. People really promote massively, and they advertise a lot, saying, "Buy my phone. My phone is better." This. So these are ways competition takes place. People keep launching new products. All right? Phones may every 3 months, 6 months a new product comes. Cars may every 6 months a new product comes. Why do companies do this? Why do you need new models all the time? Because the phone I have got will last me, if not 10 years, at least 4-5 years it will last. What is the idea of new product introduction? Why do companies launch new products? Keep changing the models all the time. Why do they do it? Anybody? Some of you are business professors, yeah. बोलिए मार्केटिंग वाले हैं कुछ तो हमने देखा लिस्ट में. Anybody?
So I guess to prove they are the best in the market, they keep upgrading their versions.
Okay. But why will the customer upgrade?
With the new feature launched in the new version of the product that they launch in the market.
See, once everybody has a phone, and they say कि इंडिया में कितने फोन है? 1 billion के आसपास है, 900 million. So almost everybody has a phone. बच्चे भी तो हैं, बुढ़े लोग भी तो हैं ना. Remember, there are children.
There are videos and then there are photos.
Pardon?
There are leaders who buy the product in the beginning, and then there are emulators.
Yeah,
who
that's
want
the
to
customer
be-
grouping. That's the customer grouping. You're right about it. But why do companies keep doing it? Okay,
Sir,
because once the market is saturated,
if they don't bring the product in the market immediately, their products will last for they cannot afford to do.
I'm
They
sorry,
need to have innovation.
why do they need to have innovation? Everybody has a phone already.
Sir,
Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat?
Hello, sir.
in order to gain profits, the people want to get something new every time. They get bored with the old one.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. That's the answer. I want to substitute it. Okay. If you say, हमारे पास the phone hai already, why should I buy a new one? Then somebody like me, I don't buy phones when new models are launched. I'm old, conservative. I'm a retired guy living off pension, so I don't do all this kind of. But young people, they want a new model आ गया खरीदना है. Young people tell their parents, please buy me a new phone. This has this feature, that feature, etc. The advertising affects them. So they are willing to get rid of their old phone, though it's perfectly working, perfectly good condition. They are willing to get rid of their old car. Okay. And that's why second-hand car markets are very important. If I can't sell my old car, I will not buy a new car. So what these companies have done, they have started buying back the cars. Many companies also buy back your phones. They buy back your refrigerators. The idea is to induce you to buy a new model. Because everybody has a refrigerator. Everybody has a phone. So my market will not grow. It's 100% saturation. So through product introduction, so this is a rivalry. This is a way of creating space for myself, increasing my market share. If I launch new products, 4 launch karunga, two will click and 2 will fail. Then I'll withdraw them after 6 months and launch 2 more. They keep doing it. Some models click, some die out very quickly. But we don't know what the customer wants. Which model will click? So Redmi has just launched 4 models recently. Am I right? Samsung is giving new models, foldable, all this kind of thing. And of course, iPhone is coming. iPhone doesn't do that much. iPhone keeps adding new features. iPhone 10, 11, 12, they are on that. And every time they get a new one, all the, Apple fans try to get the new iPhone, etc. Okay. So this is a rivalry, way of rivalry. If Apple did not launch new phones, people will switch to Samsung after some time. So it's a way of handling rivalry also. Because my competitors are doing it, I have to do it. I also increase my customer service, warranty, 5-year guarantee, free replacement, all this. These are forms of rivalry, etc. And some forms of competition are very unstable and lower the profitability of the whole industry. Everybody loses. That is happening in the mobile phone industry. Okay, are phone call? How difficult it has become to make a phone call today. You don't get the number, you get it, it drops all the time. Why is it? India is the biggest market and we take so much pride, so many people using phones, and the phones don't work because of this kind of intense competition. Where the price has come down so much that nobody can invest in the towers, nobody can invest in new equipment. No company is investing. Only Reliance invested initially because they were late entrants. Okay, but people like Vodafone and Ideas and others are not able to. Airtel are not able to invest because the returns are so small. All calls are free. We are the only country in the world where calls are free. Not USA, not Europe anywhere, not China, but India is free. So this is a intense competition, price competition, which has made the whole industry unstable. They are standing before Supreme Court के हम पैसे नहीं दे सकते सरकार को. Okay, Supreme Court is saying you have to pay. They are saying, okay, take over the company, ले लो. Because you don't have the money, your customer doesn't pay. Or the rivalry has made it like that. Same thing happened to airline industry in India. Absolutely cutthroat competition. It is not sustainable. It has destroyed the industry. The industry has to be healthy to grow. If companies keep dying one after the other, nobody will finance you after some time. No? So no bank is willing to give you money for airlines after what happened to Mr. Malia. They haven't got it back. Okay. So after some time, the industry stops growing. So this is what I call it unstable competition. It lowers the profitability to unviable levels. Okay. And telephone industry in India, mobile phone industry in India is one such. They are doing it to OTT platforms. You know, free में आपका Amazon दे रहे हैं, ये दे रहे हैं, वो दे रहे हैं, etc. etc. So they will affect others also. Okay. And then rivalry, intensity of competition depends on number of competitors, and they are roughly same size or less. Okay. Now, if there is a one big guy and one small guy, and 2-3 small guys, the competition is very gentlemanly. The big guy can crush them. Think of cigarette industry. So 80% is ITC, 9 or 10% is Wazir Sultan, which was earlier ITC ka part. To save themselves, they have sold it back to BAT Industries, British American Tobacco. And then there are this, you know, Bombay ki ek do companiyan, ek Panama hai, ek wo hai, you know, Foursquare and all that. Few people. They are very small. They all wait for ITC to change prices. If the government increases tax, nobody will change the price till ITC has announces new prices. So competition is uneven. There is no competition actually before ITC. And ITC is very highly profitable in cigarettes. All the profit comes from cigarettes. They lose money on consumer goods, fast moving consumer goods. They lose money on hotels also. They make all the profit comes from cigarettes. You see the balance sheet, you just have to read the balance sheet. But if they are of equal size, then the rivalry is very severe. Let me give you another example of an industry where size is same. Think of tire industry in India. In the tire industry, nobody has less than 10-15% market share. Nobody has more than 25% market share. Most are tire manufacturers, you know, MRF, JK, you know, Apollo, and nobody has less than 10-15% market share. There are 6 or 7 of them. They're intense rivalry between them. If you do something, I can match you. Are you getting sign? Pepsi and Coke. There are only 2 players in the market. No? Cold drink, बाकी सब छोटे मोटे local हैं. What intense competition do they have? Okay. If you have one film star dancing for you, I'll have another film star dancing for me. If you have one cricketer, I'll have another cricketer sponsoring my product. If you give a bigger bottle, I'll give a bigger bottle. If you give a buy one, get one free, I will give buy one, get one free. I can match you fully on that power of that industry. So rivalry is intense because both are equally big in size. Both have equally deep pockets to fight that battle. Especially if the industry growth is very high, then the rivalry is very gentlemanly. Suppose you go to Mr. October, he's no longer in Infosys, Mr. Narayan Murthy, he's no longer there. So some people I went to him, I know some of my batchmates, they were starting a software company. I'm talking of 2001, 2, 3, like that kind of a thing. So they were his former employees, they were starting a new company. They told him, sir, we are starting our own company software. He said, very good, please go ahead, start. He's not bothered. His growth has nothing to do with how many competitors come into the market. Okay, his competitors are American software companies. These are more Indian companies. Achha hai. I will pinch their managers, I will pinch their engineers. After some time, they will train them and I will take them away. The more their ecosystem is better for me. So in such industry, rivalry is very low. But in other industries like tire, rivalry is very high. Pepsi, Coke, rivalry is very high. Growth is very small also. If I lose market share 1% also, the industry is growing at 1%, 2%. Okay. So I have to at least grow at 1% to make sure my share remains the same. Otherwise, my market share begins to fall. If the fixed cost is very high. And again, all the product is perishable. And rivalry is very intense. Can you think of any examples where fixed cost is very high? And why is that? Why does that lead to high rivalry, high competition? बोलिए.
Maybe it is cement industry.
No, I'm not asking for values. Cement industry doesn't have high fixed costs. Okay. Fixed cost is really high, man. If you see the balance sheet, fixed cost क्या होता है? Depreciation, interest cost. No, it should be more than 50-60% of total cost. Raw material cost is not important. ऐसी कौन सी इंडस्ट्री है? बहुत सारी है. Capital intensive industries. एक generation. Madam was telling you I was the NTPC board. So each megawatt costs 7-8 crores, 10 crores. So if I have a 1000 megawatt plant, I have 7-8,000 crores. का plant खाली. उसका land अलग, ये वो separate. So if I put 7-8,000 crores, my depreciation every year is 800 crores. And I have taken loan from bank to finance it at 10%, 12%. So another 800 crores. If I keep the plant shut down also, I have to spend 1,600 crores. Are you getting what I'm saying? Petrochemical industry is one such, where Mr. Ambani rules. Okay. He's the king of petrochemicals because he has bought up everybody else. He has bought up IPCL, Indian Petrochemicals Limited. My PhD was in petrochemicals. So I went and lived in Baroda, an IPCL plant for 3 months to gather my data on technology and technology transfer. Okay, and that is now owned by Mr. Ambani. So, but his fixed costs are very high. And sometimes there is too much oil, just as there is too much plastics, there is too much petrochemical, the price falls below. So if my break-even is 100 rupees and the price of product is 80 rupees, can I shut my plant? I'm making a loss. No, because my fixed cost is 60 rupees. If I shut my plant, I will lose 60 rupees. If I keep my plant running, I will lose only 20 rupees. Are you seeing the difference? My fixed cost per ton is 60 rupees out of 100. So if there's a fixed cost is very high, there's pressure to keep your plant going at any cost. So anybody who is making electricity, he wants to run his plant at 98%, 99% capacity. If he comes to 90% also, 80%, then his cost shoots up. Overhead cost shoots up. Okay. And today there is excess electricity in India. आपको मालूम नहीं होगा, आपका power cut होता है बिहार में सब जगह. But India is sitting on excess electricity. Okay. It's like the mobile phone service. Consumers don't pay for it. They don't pay for electricity. That's why plants are not able to produce electricity because nobody is willing to pay for it. State electricity boards buy it, and they have only that much money to buy. So they buy half, and they have power cuts all the time. So because the fixed cost is very high to producers, many electricity companies, private electricity companies are in trouble. Okay, Mrs. Sitaraman, our finance minister, has got a package for them, all these things trying to help them, but it won't save them. Because the dynamics of the competition is, you have to get all your fixed costs, means you have to have your capacity utilization is very high. If your capacity utilization, if your overheads are very low, like a सड़क का ढाबा, lockdown हुआ वो घर चला गया, he has no cost. You know, he packs up his pots and pans and thing and goes away. But if you are in a mall, you invested money, you own the property, then you are stuck. Your fixed costs are high. You can't get away. You can't shut down. Whether product and service lacks differentiation or switching costs. If it lacks differentiation or switching costs, then we can't charge a higher price. Reliability is intense. Okay. If there's not much to choose between one phone and another phone, one radio and another radio, okay, one fan and another fan, we don't bother about kya brand hai. Okay. And after some time, the same thing has happened to computers, laptops. The Dell or HP or Lenovo, sab ek jaisa hai. They have all the same features. What you can get in Dell, you can get somewhere else. Maybe cheaper. Lenovo will give it to you cheaper. So the differentiation has gone. It becomes like a commodity. Undifferentiated products like that. Exit barriers are high. Once you enter, you can't get out. Once you put up a refinery, you can't get out of it. Mr. Ambani's refinery and the government, he thought he will sell in India. And the government of India continued to subsidize oil and petrol and gas and so on and so forth. So Mr. Ambani was not getting the subsidy. The oil companies in India were forced by government to sell below cost. So what he had to do? He had to sell abroad. But he has exit barriers. He can't say, I will not make oil. He has invested 20,000 crores on that refinery. 20,000 crores. Okay. His brother has gone bankrupt. Anil Ambani has gone bankrupt doing the same thing. Okay. So, exit barriers are very high. Once you are inside, you have to just make it work. And that is why the old man, Mr. Ambani, though there are many wrong things they do, they don't have a very good reputation. Okay. He was a great visionary who never built a plant which was not of world sizes. So each of his plants, whether it's synthetic fiber, whether it's refinery, whether it's petrochemical, is among the biggest in the world, so that he can compete globally with anybody. And he was also the man who made everything cheap. He made cloth, synthetic fiber cheap. जो आज हम लोग टेरलिन शर्ट्स वगैरह पहनते, they used to be very expensive earlier. Cotton was cheap in India. Mr. Ambani made it differently by mass producing it, by making things available. They have also made telephone cheap by giving you those services. So his strategy of competition was what we call price leadership, cost leadership. Okay, I will not discuss it, we don't have time. And rivalry of different strategies, origin, culture. When foreign companies came to India, Amazon, Magara, they don't mind losing money. They have lost $7-8 billion. Walmart has lost $6 billion. Chota mota nahi hai. If you want to compete against Mr. Amazon and Mr. Walmart, you need $8-10 billion, not a small amount. No. So $1 billion is 7,000 crores. Or 700 crores. So 10 billion means 7,000, 8,000 crores I have to lose to be able to compete with that. So this is intense. Right? But those guys are coming, they're subsidizing it from their profits in other markets. How will an Indian company subsidize it? So these are the kinds of questions that you have. So these 5 forces together determine the intensity of competition profitability. They decide whether the industry is attractive or unattractive, profitable or unprofitable. If I ask you why is the airline industry unprofitable, then you will look at these 5 forces. Kya ho raha hai? There are no entry barriers. Do you know there are no entry barriers in airline industry? You don't have to own the plane. Kiraye pe milta hai. You can get wet leased. साथ में pilot भी मिलता है. You can get 4 planes for 6 months and start an airline. Government has no licensing. Anybody can start an airline. Okay, I don't need money. I just need rent for 3 months, 6 months, and I've started an airline. And that is what many people did. So Mr. Mallya did not own the planes. Planes are owned by those guys who have taken it back. Okay, of course he had his own pilots, but you can get wet lease pilots. You can get Ukraine wale aate hain. Again, Ukraine ka plane, Ukraine ka pilot. Many of the airlines are using them. Jet Airways was using Ukraine pilots. So this determines the profitability industry. And some industries are highly profitable. Software. You can't enter it easily. It looks very easy to make software. But the customer has to give you orders, no? He doesn't trust you. He's asking for services. He deliver in time. So only big companies are able to do that. The top 10 companies in India dominate the software industry. 20 account for, top 20 companies account for 90% of exports to India. Okay. And there are thousands of companies in India who don't make any profits because the entry barriers are very high. Okay, and which is the entry barrier? 5 forces important will depend on your industry. Not all 5 are important. Only 1 is important. In computer industry, bargaining power of suppliers is important. Bas. Okay. In some industry, entry barriers are very high. In airline industry, rivalry is very high. So entry barrier is nahi hai. Okay. So these forces should be distinguished from short-term factors like COVID ho gaya, profit kam ho gaya, and not, these are transient. After all, COVID we'll get out of it 1 year, 2 years. Of course, we have done very badly compared to other countries. Our economy is the worst. Even compared to US and others, we have done badly. It's partly given the nature of the lockdown that we did. But this will not affect the profitability is bad of all industry today. But we are looking at long-term profitability. In the long run also, if everything is all right, the airlines are not making profit. In the long run also, if everything is all right, mobile phone companies are not making profit. They are not able to pay government taxes. It's for the spectrum that they have got. They are not able to pay. Okay, so industries are unattractive in that sense. Assessing the strength of these forces and relating them to my capabilities, my assets, is crucial to positioning my industry. So this is the main force in the industry. I'm going, what strength do I have? I can do this competitive analysis also for education industry. Okay, you can do it for any industry that you like, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what is competitive strategy? Competitive strategy is taking an offensive or a defensive action to create a defendable position in an industry to cope with the 5 forces competition and thereby yield higher profits. How did Mr. Ambani make money in textiles? आपको याद है? He also had a jingle like Nirma, Vimal Fabrics. He had his own shops all over the country. Come to my shops to buy. So he did not sell to the wholesale industry at all his products. Just as Apple does not sell its phones to anybody. You cannot even buy it online. You know Apple phones? You have to go to the store to buy it. And now they are opening the stores in India with a Thai customer. They had some people as agents, but now they are going to open their own stores. They don't make the phones, but they own the stores. 100% ownership उनका होता है store के अंदर. Okay, they only design the phones. The Chinese make it for them. The Germans and the Japanese give the components for them. And they make the profits. Every phone they make $100 to $150, to which Chinese get $8. Again, this is my competitive strength, my positioning. I get all the cream. Any questions? I'll stop here. I'm stopped sharing this and I'm open to any question that you may have before you go for lunch. Anybody? Let me at least feel you followed what I said. Somebody? Or have you already gone for your lunch, keeping your computers on?
We'd love to listen you. I have a one question. I think this question is apt on. I don't know, sir, but why does there is lot? There's a heavy tax on cigarette. This question is keep haunting me because we know cigarettes are very injurious to health, and governments are not banning it also. But the tax rate that we see is the highest for cigarettes. So if you just throw some light on this question.
You see, it is high because what they call sinful product. It's bad for health. So the idea is to deter people from having it. But ideally, you should ban it. But no country in the world has banned cigarettes. Okay, and there are lots of people who have smoked and nothing happened to them. Churchill, very famous Churchill used to say, till 90 he used to smoke his cigars. He used to drink a lot. He used to drink in the daytime also. So he said, this man used to not drink, but I drank and then I lived to 90. So he used to boast about it. So it's a sinful product, and it's a big source of revenue to government. The government doesn't want to give it up also. You have to substitute it. आपके बिहार में alcohol ban कर दिया गया, So government has lost a lot of revenue. Okay, people are dying, smuggling. All of you know about the smuggling. Okay, people in I'm sure are able to get it alcohol. Those who are rich, who are connected, who are police officers, who have connections and stuff like that, they will all be getting it. And the government is losing its revenue. So how much revenue is it losing? I'm an advisor to Kerala government. They get 3,000 crores a month from just liquor sales. They control the shops also. They take the margin also. No private guy is allowed to sell liquor. Only government sells it. I'm just giving you an example. And they will not touch it. So the church in Kerala wants it to be banned. But they will not touch it because it's an important source of revenue. With which they make roads, they make schools, they are doing health. They have the best health system in the country, Kerala. And all that money from liquor has gone into the health system, they will say. I'm not saying it's the only money. Okay. But a very big source of income. Total GST share was 4,000 crores. And liquor alone used to give them 3,000 crores. So you understand how important it is to them? So because of this, liquor and cigarette are heavily taxed. Okay. And but something very funny about it. Yes.
Yes, so I have a question regarding the emergent and adaptive strategy in the education sector. Now that there were talks of the FDI in the Indian academia, so how prevalent or how beneficial that could be when our own Indian middle class mindset is about the quality education when it comes to IITs and IIMs itself?
You see, let me tell you one thing. Having been abroad and taught abroad many times, nobody is interested in coming to India. Okay. I understand now. Universities are not-for-profit organizations. They want to collect money, they want to have enough to pay their teachers, do research. They are centers of knowledge. I'm talking higher education. Same with IITs, IIMs. They always talk of having a certain campus, Dubai, Singapore, private people do it. IIMs have not done it on a big scale. Here and there we have done it. It hasn't taken off much. Okay? Because it's not easy to do it first. The same quality, you erode your brand. If you see, who will go, see my son got a scholarship. So if you get into IIT, he didn't take the scholarship. Okay. So they asked him, the university rang him up. He said, I got into IIT, I don't want to go. Okay. So if you have a brand which is as powerful globally, why would I want to go? So if these guys come, they have very powerful brands. Harvard comes to India. So those fly-by-night operators are already here. Many of them are private universities. Okay, many. They're all here. Oxford, kya naam bolte hain. Unke liye, it hasn't helped them much. I'm with you on this. I don't think there will be serious effort to enter in market. unless it is in collaboration with us. IIM Calcutta was set up by collaboration with MIT and Ahmedabad with Harvard. And MIT guys team came when I was 20 years ago. They came when India was opening up and all. They came to explore joint research with us. They said, you are the only time we collaborated with anybody in the world. We have never collaborated with a foreign university to set it up. Okay. They were given the money by Ford Foundation to do this. Okay. But they have never done it before, never done it afterwards. And they don't want to do it. But they are very interested in research with us. कि हमारा scholar आएगा, he will stay here, he will do research, give him a place to work, let him meet your doctoral students, they go. So he is interested in knowledge collaboration, not in running a course. Are you getting what I'm saying? So I don't see the serious threat yet, but things may change.
Right.
Okay, we'll take a break now. We are meeting in 45 minutes from now. It's 1:40. So shall we start at 2:30?
Sir, we'll take a break of 45 minutes. This is right now, I think, 1:30. We'll meet around 2:15, sir.
2:15. That's not 45 minutes then. Now I get 30 minutes, 35 minutes. What do you want? I can meet at 2:15.
2:30, all right. No issue, sir. 2:30, we'll meet around 2:30. All right, sir.
Come at 2:15. I think we should give them 45-minute rest.
All right, sir.
Let's start
Sure.
at 2:30. Let's start.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's meet around 2:30 now.